Mixed feedback. All right. I'm watching for it. Yeah, I'm seeing the stream strength get a little low. Okay. Maybe I've got a lot of demands on my internet. I don't know. Ooh, yeah, it's red. That's bad stuff. We'll see what we get. It's lagging. What is causing that today? I do not know. It should be full strength now. The fudge, man. Couldn't tell you. But we'll see what we can do. Lagging is not good. All right, we're back. Is it any better? Are we coming in? I paused it for a minute to give it a chance to reset itself. How about now? Are we lag city or are we not lag city? Is it still laggy? We shall see in a momento. What is happening? Yes, I have checked out that Celtic Prague that you sent me, Honky, and I liked it. I thought I sent you a message back about it. If I didn't, I apologize. Yeah, that was actually really flippin' cool. I enjoyed the heck out of that. Dug it. I definitely dug it. Oh, we're getting lag. It's going yellow on me. What's going on here? It's one of those mornings. Oh, well, that's good. That's good. Hopefully it stays that way. So I don't know how much of the beginning came through or not. We will see when I watch the playback. That ought to be all kinds of fun. So yeah, I just stopped the stream entirely and came back up. So now we should be ready to rock. Get my wife's dog lover mug, of course. Yeah, I may be stepping out for a moment at some point here because my beautiful wife needs to leave. And when that happens, I need to make sure the dogs are inside when she leaves, not outside. You can all hear Gita. She's having a fun time at the window about something. Oh, she's probably having fun with Chunk. That's probably what that is. Oh, I think both. I think it was both that I was mentioning in that Honky Bear. And yes, I enjoyed both deeply. They were great. Excuse me. Don't worry. I'm not gonna spiral about the dogs like I did with the flies yesterday. Fun though that was. I hope everyone was thoroughly entertained because that was, of course, the purpose. One day when I have a dedicated studio room, we'll talk about funny things without dog interference. So yes, I will. All of you saw it when you were waiting for the show to begin. That well, if you'll bear with me for another 10 seconds, I do have this slowness happening in the computer. But let's see, where'd everybody go? They're howling about something now. That's too funny. Oh, my dogs. And then they'll just stop. They'll just discontinue. So, many of you saw yesterday how this was shared on Mr. Pinder's show. And we have a second purchase. I believe Miss Kikya, whom I shall not dox, she has purchased a wonderful Love Chunker Yorikami shirt. And I believe also, is it Andrew J. who bought the first one? And I'm quite thankful for that. Very, very cool. we're moving right along. Guys, we only need to get 5 sold, right? And then we'll get them made. If we get at least 5 done, right, we'll get them made. Now, I obviously want to shoot for 50 because the more we sell, the better this show can do. But, yeah, I set the pricing just right where if I set it the way that's like the one it defaults to when you do it on there. So with that, within 5 shirts, we'll be good to go. So, oh, Steve, you're awesome. And then we'll need 1 more, and we'll be there. Yeah. Excuse me. Little nose squeeze. It's always a good thing. Oh, Honky, I'm definitely going to be checking that out. Not sure what that's about, but I'm going to have to go get it. Excuse me. I had a big yawn come through there. Timeout immune. Is that what happens? If you're wearing a Love Chunk or your Akami shirt and you do it in public or you do it in a way as to draw more bears, perhaps I might grant you timeout immunity. Even if you have to buy 3. You want it to seem ironical, huh? That'd be funny. Speaking of irony, one of my sons is quite adept at understanding irony. Not that the others can't. They do get it, but my second son's very, very, very quick about it. It's a gifting I think he has, and I hope he uses it well in future. This shirt is a get out of jail free card. Only in this stream. Only here. Anywhere else, it might be a go to jail. Especially maybe Canada. It's like, that's hate speech. How can you do that? No. Now, Jordan Peterson would say, well, it means, it depends on what you mean by chunk and what you mean by commie. Because both have very broad definitions, perhaps at different times in history. I mean, it's not a simple thing, Chunk's a very rough dude. He used to be one of the Hell's Angels, and he'd come over to my house late at night and offer to sell me his food ball. And, I mean, what are you going to say? What are you going to say to that? I mean, really? But my wife said I had to stop buying food balls from Chunk. So I had to speak truth. I had to be precise in my speech because, when you're standing in front of a 90-pound Mastiff Rottweiler, could be very, very disconcerting, to say the least. I mean, he's just miserable. He's pathetic, but he's beautiful all at the same time. There's a little JBP for you. A very, very poor one. I've got to wake up a little bit. By the way, yesterday I found, I was going through Jordan Peterson's Instagram profile, and I found this bit that was cracking me up. So it is now my ringtone on my phone. Somebody made a video for him. It was like Kermit and Cookie Monster on Sesame Street, and they're talking to each other. Kermit's got some sort of a question box, and he shows it to Cookie, and Cookie's curious. Let's see if you can catch this. Hang on a second. I love that bit. It was cracking me up. So that is now officially my ringtone, and I love it. But yeah, I always appreciate things like that about Jordan Peterson. Maybe one of these days I can get some sort of a humorous deal that about Chunk that incorporates him talking to Chunk about his choices in life and how he needs to get his act together and clean up his room, even though he doesn't really have one. Oh dear. I just looked at the chat. That's killing me, Steve. That's awesome. You may take our lives, but you'll never take our Chunk love. That's right. Don't forget that. So, right now, you too can have some chunk love. Just $21.99 from bonfire.com. Oh, man. Hey, China Lynn. Thanks for coming in. Glad to see you here. Glad you could join us. Yeah, we're just talking about I don't know if you just popped in, but talking about my Mastiff Rottweiler chunk and this design that Steve Pinder put together for a t-shirt. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Good times. All right. At any rate, so on with the show. Today, I wanted to discuss something of a little bit of importance that I thought was worthwhile discussing. Some of you may recall something that I grew up with, which was rather hysterical. And that's something, I'm going to make it work for me. That's something that I recall as a youngster was, come on, just do it. All right, let's see if it works. Y'all know what I'm going to do already, but just gonna make it happen. Come on now. Let's do this. All right, that's better. That's much better. Yeah. Many of you recall a certain comic strip that was popular for many years by Gary Larson. And I grew up on the Far Side. They were always bizarre, always strange, but always fun. I always enjoyed the heck out of Far Side, and I'd be laughing for years on some pretty decent Far Side comics. Well, I found some old Far Side galleries at our local Goodwill. They had it in the book section, and even this one. This is a good one. Just copious amounts of great Far Side tunes, and they're just bizarre. They're just whack job, but he's kind of a whack job. He's a musician, and he got into the comic thing in just weird way. I don't remember the story about that. I wanted to share that, but I'd forgotten some of the details on how that started up for him. But you know, it was just a pastime of his, a hobby to draw and do silly things like that. And he was really able to communicate quite a bit through a lot of those cartoons. He grabbed the attention of a lot of people. He actually got a special type of insect named after him. Some ancient weird looking thing. Hey, Michael Warpath Stevens. Yes, the cows were the best. The cows were definitely the best. Always had fun with them. The other what? Bender. Oh my goodness. Yes. You know, I can't wait until that happens, by the way. I wanted you to send me a picture. If you still are near a computer and you can send a copy of that picture, I'm going to post it up here real quick. Send it to me in Hangouts or something, then I'll download it and share it here, Steve. But yeah, everybody get ready, because in a month, right, we're going to once again be graced with the wonderful gift of the Pinder's Ugly Mug. And yeah, it will be a wonderful thing to have it available and be able to drink out of it. I'm sorry, I'm just popping through Hangouts real quick, and I'm seeing somebody's post about arming school staff, teachers, just a regular 9mm, librarians have a silencer. That's awesome. That's pretty darn funny. You guys are killing me. But yes, Pinder's Ugly Mug, you need to get one, because no other beverage vessel has the shekels for you to buy more of them coming along with it, allegedly. You know, I mean, just being able to drink out of that might help you produce shekels at random while you stop rain in its tracks. Get one before the winter comes, so that you can, at least around the area of your home, diminish the level of snowfall, perhaps by a measurable amount, but only only when you drink from a Pinder's Ugly mug bearing the fantastically horrendous Jullet. And you can get that as soon as he reposts it about a month from now through Teespring. I encourage you to get at least 2, because then you can share Pinder's Ugly mug with a friend, and it's worth sharing. That's what's up. That's how you have shalom. So on with on with what we're talking about, Far Side cartoons, right? It occurred to me, I was actually trying to think, okay, I need a topic for the show. What am I going to talk about today? What's the focus? And I kind of knew, but I didn't know how to encapsulate it in a title. And I turned to my side, and on this table, I've got stuff I'm trying to deal with over here. Thank you. Yes, that is the insect. Thank you, Michael Warpath Stevens. Guess what you get just for that? Guess what you got? You earned your wrench. You know, I can't say that everybody here has earned their wrench, but I definitely think Mike has. Welcome, Mike, to Wrench Life. And, you know, China, you've been around here for plenty of time. I may as well go ahead and grant you a wrench, too. You're a wonderful lady. So welcome, folks. Glad you're here. Enjoy the Wrench Life. Try to handle the responsibility responsibly. I noticed that as my boys got into the Far Side, yes, haughty. I noticed as my boys started to dig into this a little bit, and they enjoyed it, that, you know, they were definitely going to be differently minded gentlemen. They were going to have a unique perspective on life, and I wanted them to. But I know that I also grew up with a bizarre sort of unique perspective on things. I want their perspective to be tempered with a little bit of what I don't think I had enough of. Did you follow that? A little bit of what I don't think I had enough of. You're welcome, China, and you stay haughty, Mike Warpath Stevens. So I have talked about it before. I struggle with the difficulty in maintaining consistency in things and being able to accomplish things that even I want to do in a timely fashion. It's hard to go from the idea of accomplishing certain tasks to the completion, right? Knock my mic around. They call it executive functioning difficulties, and sometimes I struggle with that a little bit. In fact, a lot bit. But I'm aware of it, and now in my later years, I've begun to develop certain skills that will enable me to do things more consistently better. And I watch just a little bit at a time as I get better and better at certain stuff. So I don't want them to have to go through the first, 10 years of their adulthood not beginning to focus on these things with more intention. I figure get started on it now. Develop willingness to do things that are not as fun by developing that habit in your life. When I have an opportunity, I try to encourage the boys, especially in physical things, running, hiking, occasionally canoeing. I was going to have us canoe last night, but we were going to get started a little too late. But I really talked to him a lot about this, and maybe more than I need to. But I think it'll sink in. I think it'll be a good thing. Gave them the understanding that anytime you have an opportunity to push yourself, you need to take it. You need to take the opportunity, because if you don't set that as a habit for yourself, that you're going to push your own abilities, you're going to push yourself in your willingness to do something that you may not want to do, but you need to do because it's good for you. You're going to end up with a diminished sense of drive, a diminished sense of willingness to push yourself. And it's not an easy thing to do, to go against your own will, but you have to. I mean, Dr. Peterson's talked about that, and I've watched that recently. I've talked to a number of people about that recently. I'm going to have to get another table one of these days, something that doesn't rock around. or a chair that I don't have to in all the time. JBP talks about the fact that you have to negotiate with yourself. You're not your own slave. You know, I've heard other people discuss this concept too. Understanding your motivational center, like what gets you moving. You know, I've really spent a lot of time lately thinking about this and trying to set myself up in such a way as to be successful no matter what I want to do. And I have a long way to go. I have a lot of stuff I still have to get through to get to that point where I see myself consistently doing all the things that I know I want to do and need to do. But I'm wanting to give those boys and my other kids as well every opportunity to develop that attitude now. I want them to be weird, not just like your typical everyday person, but weird and sensible, right? I want them, well, and that is kind of weird these days. I want them to have things that I know I didn't have. I want my weaknesses to be their strengths over time as much as I can. And I can only do so much of that. But I figure the more that I pursue it as well in my own behavior now, the more examples they see of me doing that. And the more encouragement I give them, not to beat them down, but to say, you got to do this. You need to do it. It's a requirement. Like, and give them challenges, right? Make them feel like it's something they can do. The more I can find ways to do that, unique ways to do that, the more they're going to rise to the challenge. And they're going to fail at the same time. I played for them while we were going for a walk last night. Excuse me. I played for them a speech that I shared with all of you guys in the Hangouts not long ago that Steven Crowder put out on September 8th, talking about do something, right? And he was talking about the way that people work for him, or that he's worked for people or not. You know, the reason that they have that show on there, the Crowder show. He was saying, I had the idea for a show like this for years and didn't do anything with it. I just kept saying, somebody's got to do it, right? Somebody's got to do something. So I finally did something. And I shared that with them to try and help just add a little bit more, not just me saying it, but somebody else saying it, so they can understand this is important. This is huge. You need to learn to be this person. If nothing else, you need to learn to be the person that doesn't say, somebody's got to do it, and be the person that says, I'll do it. I'll take care of it. I've not been that person much in my life. I've not been the person that says, I'll do it. I've been the person that says, somebody's got to do something. And I'm really tired of being that person. I'm really tired of defaulting to that. I know I tend to work better on projects when I do it with somebody else. I'm aware of that. So that's not saying somebody else has got to do it. That's saying, you need help, right? And that's an important thing to realize. Going and getting it, right? When you're not doing things successfully just by yourself, or you're trying as best you can, figure out what your limits are by yourself, and then you go and get the help you need to make it happen. That's a strength when you can realize that you do. If you just sit there spinning your wheels when you obviously need help to do what you're doing, that's not good. This show, eventually, I'm going to get, like I said, a not gay sound guy, Hopper Jr., that has a cybernetic implant. So I'll have the entire and it is also a quarter black. I'll have the whole crew rolled into one, right? I'll start there. Gosh darn it, man. That's so funny. It's obnoxious and funny at the same time. It's not fly obnoxious, but it's something. I don't have the picture queued up. I wish I could. I was going to put up an Instagram post out yesterday, and I haven't finished putting it together yet. But let's just say the war, anybody who was interested, the war with the flies ended triumphantly yesterday. I was very pleased. That's right. I got excited about killing. But excuse me. Yeah, I knew that something was like that was coming. That's what I need to get, is one of those like mute buttons so I can sneeze. That'd be an interesting idea. But see, I'm generating ideas. I'm cataloging it, right? So it starts with little things like that. Yeah, I'm excited to see what my kids come up with. I gave my older boys a challenge this week. I told them, okay, this week before you come back and you see me on Saturday, I want you to think about 3 things you're going to do every day to work on your different main muscle groups, your arms, your core, and your legs. 3 little things you can do, and take between 30 seconds to 5 minutes to work on it, anywhere between there. Do that 3 times a day. That's like ninja workout, right? Just get yourself started. Start somewhere, a digestible goal that's really easy. And I guarantee your mom will be okay with you pursuing that goal for a few minutes. I'm sure you can fit that somewhere in your day, but you have to do it. You have to decide it's worthwhile. You have to see the value, right? Not shekels, Pender, just so you're, I mean, it could be eventually, you never know, but that's not what I mean when I say value. I know that there's other things, just so you know. Like, for example, a certain shirt I happen to know about. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. I was going to pull it up, and it was going to be a fun joke. I happen to like the shekels. I think their shekels are a good thing. I don't have any. And maybe I've got shekel envy. It could be that. But I'll have to work through my shekel envy and get past that. And I'll get back to you. I'll let you know how it works out. But yeah, you need to there we go. Sorry, I was just fixing something. There's always something to mess with on this here program. You're always learning new things that it can do. Boy, there's some stuff coming too. I'm telling you, like all the stuff I'm learning about how this thing works. It's super cool. There's a WAPO headline. Complicit with the hurricane. Oh my goodness. They're blaming him for agreeing with the hurricane. That's hilarious. That's so funny. If that's what's going on. Because clearly he just wants hurricanes. Yes. Onion headlines are like a reality now. That's so true, Mr. Nicktown. By the way, speaking of that, so before I started the show, I was running behind a little bit, partly because it's me, but also partly because I like to do a little looking around before I start. I want some interesting things to share. I subscribed to the I'm Not Norm channel, and I don't know how many of you saw this come out. Norm was supposed to be on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon last night. Apparently, he wasn't. He was bumped. Why? Apparently, it's because of his recent comments he made to a reporter concerning the hashtag Me Too movement. And he had some just honest thoughts about it. It wasn't even like nasty. It was just honest thoughts. And he got apparently massive amounts of trolling and hate over Twitter and other things. That's so funny. Hurricane oppression. Oh, man. Yeah, the Jews just need to let hurricanes happen. You know, it's their Heb privilege is what that is. Heb privilege in just preventing hurricanes from hitting them. That's what it is. That's right. I said Heb privilege. So demonetized. I'm not monetized in the first place. I had an old buddy of mine. Ian Phillips was a good buddy of mine when we were on our first deployment together. God rest his soul. He ended up leaving us about 5 years ago now. It's getting close to his birthday. I think this month. I have to go look on the Facebook page. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, he passed. A little over, yeah, it was in the summertime about 4 years ago, and sadly, yeah, he had too many injuries mentally, I guess, from deployments, and is not with us. But boy, I have some great memories of being with that guy, hanging out with him, and we used to make Heeb jokes all the time. We used to just say Heeb, because I thought it was one of the funniest epithets, kind but silly, that I'd ever heard. I'd never heard anybody say that before. Oh, man. Hurricane. Oh, man. My goodness sakes alive, people. Oh, boy. Yeah. Y'all are funny. Life is funny, That's kind of why I want my kids to have that example. I want them to be able to rise above all of this stuff, right? To recognize that it's going to be crazy times for them with some wild people. They've got to work hard to stand up for what they know is true. Did people ever do that, Dom? Did people ever actually shoot at a hurricane? What? And you don't mean video camera. You're talking actual weapons fire at a hurricane, or are you just being ridiculous? Sharknado. Oh my goodness. Well, there is Florida people, yeah. If that's happened and there's video of someone actually firing a weapon at a hurricane, that'd be pretty darn funny. But at any rate, so let's see here. They literally did. Kodiak, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, you came in at a wonderful time. It died. I thought that was Chuck Norris. I thought that's what Chuck Norris did to hurricanes. Chuck Norris just has to point a finger and say, bang, and the hurricane stops. Oh. So at any rate, hey Kodiak, I don't know if you were here yesterday, but boy, I'd love to catch up with you offline. And I know you've got amazing editing skills. I know you're probably busy with plenty of other things, but if you ever take a look at yesterday's episode and happen to catch various moments of me spiraling in response to flies, I would be honored if you're ever able to catch bits and pieces out of that. It was a lengthy episode, and I even have little moments all the way up to the very end. I don't know if anybody stayed that long, but I left the mic on after the music stopped, and I was like yelling at the flies right up until the time the stream stopped. It was pretty funny. Let's see. Florida man drives modified Hummer with mounted guns. Oh my goodness. That's funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I didn't. If you ever are capable, boy, because I have to say, I really loved your Pinder laugh track, Kodiak. That was unbelievably funny. So you were the man with getting those clips of different people's stuff, and you ought to be appropriately compensated one of these days. If at all possible, maybe I can get you a chunk T-shirt, pro bono. There's a joke there. Get you a T-shirt of a dog, pro bono. Mm-hmm. And it's a triple entendre because he's also lost his testicles. So. Oh, so funny. So funny. At any rate. Yeah, that was something else yesterday. No, that's not what I said, Steve. I said pro bono. Right. Let's just leave it at that. All right. Come on. This is a family show, right? No, not even close. At any rate, that's a track I wonder about. How many times do I say it was a blast? And at any rate, so I was going to mention some Far Side jokes because they're so good. I'm going to have to turn up my mic volume just a hair here. Who remembers the monster snorkel? That was always one of my favorites. The monster snorkel allows your child to breathe comfortably without exposing vulnerable parts to an attack. And it's these two monsters coming after the kid. I'd show some of them, but I don't know what the rules are for showing off Far Side comics. I mean, they were published in the paper, so I figure you should be able to. If you own the book, you can share pages, but then there's copyright. I don't know. So if YouTube has an issue. Oh, someone's calling me. I didn't turn my phone off, and I don't know where my phone is. I was hearing Kermit the Frog and Cookie Monster, and then Jordan Peterson saying something about postmodernism, and I didn't know what was going on. It's my phone. It's in the other room, and it's ringing, but it was like somebody from New Jersey, so it's probably somebody trying to sell me something. Is it Boulder? I don't think so. Oh, I hear dogs squealing. Hang on 1 second. Bear with me, bears. Bear with me. While you're bearing with me, I want you to take a listen to a little piece that I was working on last night. I think you'll enjoy this. It was kind of fun. And you may remember it. Some of you who come from a more liturgical church background may recall this piece, but I revamped it in my own style. It is a unique one, isn't it? Who remembers Angels from the Realms of Glory? An old Christmas hymn. Yeah, a little creepy, huh? Was it coming through? Did you guys get any music at all or no? You should have. No sounds? That's wild. Okay. Huh. I love this. It's so great. It's so ridiculous. I'm such a pro. All right. So I had flipping music there and it was cool. So I'm going to try it once more because I've got to make this work now. And you know what? I'm just going to go back to this one more time because it's so much fun to fade out to that picture. I'm going to open up the iTunes app for it. Who's hearing it now? Are we starting to hear something now? Anybody hear that? Wow. That's funny. That's craziness. Well, that's the way it is, isn't it? So here's the deal. So, everybody heard the theme music this morning, yes? You could all hear that when I started the show. That was working, those of you that were here, yes? Or was it not? Because if it wasn't, I might be a little peeved. I might be less than pleased. Yeah, I must. I must need to set it up different. You know, it might be my soundboard, though. I just realized I had something pressed down that wasn't supposed to be. That's kind of obnoxious. So nobody heard my theme music today, which is great. But it was all spiraling anyway. I was having issues. All right. So now this should come through. This should be heard. Now you're hearing something, aren't you? It can be screwy like that. I had to reset it and everything before I started the show. How about now? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, you can put the glow sticks up now. I was slightly inspired by Akira the Dawn with that little bit there. But it is some slightly lower fi hip hop. That's what that's supposed to be. Yeah, it was an older tune called Angels from the Realms of Glory. Oh, hang on a second. I didn't stop the iTunes player. There we go. Got to do that. You got to stop your iTunes player. That's important. So, yeah, I was up late last night working on some music, and I'd excuse me, gracious. I'd worked on this piece a while ago, transcribing an old Lutheran hymn called Angels from the Realms of Glory. Just the organ part, basically. And I had it playing back as regular church pipe organ. But then I thought, boy, I'm curious what else I could do with this. Sweatier times. I thought maybe I can put some different patches on this and make it interesting, add some cool drum beat. And it was late, so I was like thinking maybe I'll whisper the lyrics and things for this, at least. That'll keep it quieter. And then I put some different EQing and effects on things. And I was talking backwards like this. And that made it a little creepier. But now that it's daytime, I might add, other stuff on top of that, other tracks of me actually speaking the words louder. And it might sound pretty cool. But I'll play around with it. I'll see what I can do. But yeah, now I know I didn't have music in the beginning of the show, which is very, very funny. So I'm glad I didn't wait for the music to go on too long. Let's see here. Yeah, it's Tyler Vetbear was texting me yesterday, asking me some questions about how I've been setting the show up recently, getting a soundboard and all that kind of jazz. And it's not been easy, as you all know. But it's really not that complicated. I just have to make sure all the settings are set right. And it pretty much tells you what you need to do. You just need to read it and press the buttons you're supposed to and don't press the buttons you're not. So, yes, of course, the drums were very loud. That's true. I just saw that last movement. That was pretty funny. And I can change that. Hey, Dom, glad you're lurking. It was pretty strange. Trying to get this up, but little by little, I've made it do what I want it to do. So, Tyler was asking me some details about this, and I just laid it out. This is exactly what I've got in here. This is all I've added, and the next step would be to get a higher quality camera separate, so I can have a different angle that lets you see the whole backdrop here and add cool things to the backdrop, because I've got lots of cool stuff I'd like to put on this wall behind me. And it'll make an interesting place for you guys to come to and just make the whole spot better. I may eventually we have an older flat screen television in LG, and maybe I'll hang that up on the wall, and then I could have interviews and you could see their face on the screen back here instead of switching back and forth. Just allows me to do things a little more simply. That could be fun. It could be fun to have some like either FaceTime or what's that thing called? Facebook Messenger. Yeah. The Facebook, which we do not speak of. I was digressed a little bit because I wanted to stop my phone. I was talking about Norm Macdonald not getting to be on the Tonight Show because of his comments. And I wonder if Big Bear will ever get a chance to maybe chat with him, since he's been a hero of Big Bear's for years. It would be appropriate, since both of them have been sort of ousted within the Hollywood community for certain language. It would be interesting to see the two of them talk, and say, yeah, this PC stuff's got to go. Because if you even attempt to try and have a conversation about PC, right, you'll end up having a conversation about how Jordan Peterson is a mean, mad white man. That's really what will happen. And even Stephen Fry, a liberal like Stephen Fry, will have to throw his hands up and say, no one's talking about PC culture here. That's what happens if you try to have a conversation about political correctness. So those of you who know what I'm talking about, you enjoyed that. Those of you who don't, you need to go watch that. It was one of the monk debates, and it was Jordan Peterson and Stephen Fry discussing the side against political correctness, and then Michael Eric Dyson. It was Michael Eric Dyson, and I can't remember the lady's name. Just escapes me. Patriarchy. I forget the lady's name. Gosh, I can't think of it. But yeah. Is it Eric Dyson? I thought it was Michael Eric Dyson. I don't know. I totally wrong. Eric Michael Dyson. And then the lady, I forget. But at any rate, so these two were trying to tell Peterson and Fry, like, political correctness is important, and blah blah blah. You're a racist, and blah blah blah. You're clearly a patriarch, and for the alt-right, and with plenty of evidence to support that theory. Yeah, I agree. It was ridiculous. But any time that Peterson and Fry got up there, it was enjoyable. Yeah, interesting time. At any rate, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Norm Macdonald is coming in on those kinds of conversations. I'd be watching for that. Really would enjoy seeing him on a Big Bear stream. Really, really, really would enjoy seeing him on a Crowder stream too. That would be something. If Crowder and his people got to talk to that guy. He's super intelligent too. That's something I didn't know growing up, because I heard about him, and then I heard, well, he's not on Saturday Night Live anymore. He wasn't funny enough, and I'm like, I guess he said he wasn't funny. And then my uncle said, are you kidding? No, he was the funniest guy on that show by hands down. And I was like, I didn't know. And oh, dude, Old Bear, you are absolutely right. And I showed that to my older boys. I showed the older one that was taken from like the Rogan interview stuff. That YouTuber, I'm going to pull that up right quick. Y'all need to subscribe to that dude's channel if you don't already. But that was flippin' hilarious. Any of those things that have been put out thus far have been awesome. I'm going to tell you because I just watched it, and this is vital information. I hope I'm not destroying the stream by searching on the internet while I'm streaming. We shall see. Boy, it doesn't like me doing that. It is slow. Don't use your phone. Don't use your phone. In fact, turn the Wi-Fi off on your phone so you don't have that problem. There we go. Michelle Goldberg was that girl from the monk debate. There it came up. Let's see. History. because I've watched the video just recently. That should tell me. I need to see, the Christina Hoff Summers interview on Ben's thing. It's so weird going on YouTube and seeing you are live now. That's kind of surreal. Like, wow, I'm on there, man. Even 2.5 months into this, it's still weird. Shamian, Shamien, Shamian. You guys need to go subscribe to that cat, because that cat is doing hilarious stuff. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's a bit that he's got in there of Jordan Peterson trying to explain God, and if it will let me, I'll, it's not going to let me. Like, there's not enough data for that. It's going to mess my whole system up if I try to play the video for you. Maybe. Well, no sound right now. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Who has no sound? Me? Oh, you might have been talking about something entirely different. No, here's something that I played for my wife as well, because this was incredibly hilarious, and I'm gonna make this play because it will play. I got the sound working now, so it should happen. We'll just have to do it right. I'll get the window up for you. And this only takes a moment. But now that I have the ability to do this, I want to do it because it's fun as fudge to be able to do this stuff. Let's see now. Yeah, it's taking its sweet time. I'll tell you that right now. But we'll see. Hopefully, yeah, the stream looks like it's still healthy, so that's a good thing. Oh, hang on. So I'm learning. I'm making stuff do stuff that it doesn't want to do. There we go. YouTube. Yes. Okay. There we are. There we go. That's actually really cool that works. That's like really, really cool. All right. So what would happen if it were to come up would be that I'd play it. But as you can see, it's not exactly loading nicely right now. It's taking its time. But yeah, go look this one up if you haven't seen it. It's like 1 minute and 10 seconds, and it's worth your time. It's very, very, very funny. And this Shamian guy just is knocking it out the park, man. Just killing it. Yeah. Shamian. This guy's got only 21,000 subscribers. And this video's had like 53,000 views. That's crazy. This guy needs to get boosted. This guy is a bear at heart. That's where his heart is. We all know it. Here's what's going to happen. So I'm going to go back to what I was doing, and then that video is going to come up, which is going to be really funny. And it's going to be funny when it just pops up in a few minutes here, and it's going to start going. At any rate, yeah, thank you. Somebody shared the channel. That's good stuff. Yeah, I can't play it. I don't have enough data. It's just not happening. But that's good. Who got a troll comment on Berta's bye? That was one of the best. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Oh, the video you did, Kodiak. I got you, dude. That was by far one of the most hilarious bits I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. Owen lost it. He lost it about that because that was funny. And I thought about that more and more, and I'm like, yeah, that is funny. That is hilarious. Because, I mean, we grew up, like, sometimes we joke with each other. It's like, dude, that's gay. And, yeah, the word gay has had the meaning lame as well for a long time. And if it can go from meaning happy to meaning homosexual. It can go from homosexual to meaning lame and not be a slander against homosexuals. Just like we're not saying that all homosexuals are happy. We're not forcing them to have that emotional state, right? So, yeah, that whole crap infuriates me, that people like get frustrated at you because you said, "You said gay." But comics better than him. I can't even take that seriously. Oh my gosh. Not even remotely. Not even close. It'd be so great if people in general had a better understanding of what it takes to create good comedy. Because I'm learning. I know very, 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 very little. I know some very minor fundamentals, and I know that it takes a lot. Just knowing that. So it takes more to make me laugh now than it did when I was younger. Obviously, the older you get, your sense of humor gets more sophisticated, right? And I think there's a wider range of things that I can laugh about, but the comedy needs to be structured in a way that I actually find amusing. I will say John C. Reilly's character, Dr. Stephen Brule, that has made me laugh on more than one occasion. I have laughed quite a bit at Steve Brule. There's some things that I don't want to laugh about Steve Brule, but there are other things that, yes, I have definitely found hilarious because of the way that the character was done. I mean, you've got an Academy Award nominated actor. I don't remember if John C. Reilly ever won one or was just nominated, but yeah, this guy's a genius. He's a genius. We're talking about the dude from Step Brothers and Talladega Nights. The friend, and he's got comedic timing that blows my mind, especially with that particular character, Dr. Steve Brule. And so much of it just seems like it's right off the cuff, and I think a lot of it is. I think of a lot of the stuff they came up with was just originally just goofing. But he portrays this character so pathetically and hilariously at the same time that you can't help but laugh and then sort of feel sorry for him at the same time. It's so weird. It's such a bizarre thing to do with such a ridiculous character. But yeah, that has made me laugh on a number of occasions, and I feel like I shouldn't find that funny. Just somebody you reply to the troll on his video there, Steve. That's funny. Yes, John C. Reilly does have a hilarious face. I'm doing more of an ape thing. I don't know. Yes, I just associated John C. Reilly with a monkey. And let it be known, John C. Reilly is not black. So there you go. You can do that. It is a legitimate use of the term, and you can be not racist. So at any rate, what other Far Side bits were favorites of mine? I won't go on for too much longer. We're already after an hour, so I might let people go on with their lives. Come up with some other interesting things to talk about. But bring this back around to something that you can take away and hopefully live your day a little bit better. Let's see here. Oh, the two bears sitting in a broken car. Think about it, Murray. If we could get this baby running, we could run over hikers, pick up females, and chase down mule deer. Man, we'd be the grizzlies from hell. That was always a favorite of mine. These two bears sitting in the woods. That's appropriate. That was funny. Night of the Crash Test Dummies was also pretty funny. Putting the scientists into the car instead of them, and they're gonna press the button and send them on the crash test. Oh my goodness! And it's funny. I appreciate certain Far Side cartoons much more than I did when I was a kid, because I get them. I get them a lot better. um, my cousin, one of my cousins, I should say, her name is Rua, and she had a favorite growing up. It was a pair of deer, and this one deer walks up, and he's got this big target painted on his chest, and his buddy looks at him and says, "Bummer of a birthmark, Hal." That was always a good one. I like people that have genius, and they use it in a way that you'd think is, you don't think of as genius, right? You just think of as like, that's cool, that's awesome, or it makes you laugh, or it makes you think, it makes you feel in a really useful way. I enjoy that. It's a good thing, and it's been fuel for me to come up with ideas. There have been times where I've been inspired toward making better music or drumming better because of some hilarious thing that I remember from Owen or from Crowder. In sitting down to play drums with the group, the thinking about the messages of enduring and doing something, right? Getting in there and trying to do a good job. I could go to a rehearsal and just sit there and just play, and there's some cases where I'm supposed to just do that because that's my place within the group. But other times, if there's something that's not working and people aren't seeing how to communicate it in a way effectively to make the group go forward, I need to stand up a little bit and say, if I see something and I can see a path to make it better, I can say, well, could we try do this to do this? Could we draw our attention to this aspect of what's going on and make it better? I'd be willing to do this to try and help make it better. Be it sit down and go through all the songs and get the tempos for them and put them in my metronome app. The metronome by Soundbrenner. If you're a drummer or any kind of musician, you need a good metronome. That's a good one, and it's free. I dig that. Trying to come up with solutions to problems, right? Trying to look at the problem, being willing to look a problem in the face. Ask yourself if you're contributing to it in some way and see if you can do something personally to diminish it. But trying to look at the group, and then if you see that there are certain people doing certain things, finding tactful ways to say, well, there's something that's happening here, and there's things that each of us could probably do to help that, and choosing your words carefully so that you draw everybody into wanting to help, focus on having a solution together. That's not an easy thing to do, and you make yourself a potential target for disdain if you come up and you make mention of a problem. So especially if you try to come up with a solution. So it's not an easy thing to do, but if you're willing to be the weird guy, if you're willing to engage in bizarre stuff, then maybe you develop a bit of a resistance to caring, if people don't like it. Now, you want to have some, because you want to have some awareness of your decorum while you do it, how you go about it. Thinking back to Jordan Peterson talking about the Hells Angels guy that was his landlord for a while. He said, I was choosing my words carefully in my conversation with this guy at 3 a.m. trying to sell me his microwave so he could get more money for more alcohol. Like he was looking at me with that look that says, say one wrong thing. Say one thing that demonstrates you have contempt for me, right? Say it. It might be the last thing you say. And that guy probably would have had no problem making it the last thing he said. But yeah, it's important to have a care, at least for that. You want to stay alive. You want the other people to remain committed to the solution. And if they're not hearing your words, right? If they're not able to connect with what you're talking about, that's not going to happen. So it's going to be counterproductive. So you take a lot of burden on your shoulders trying to be that guy who's willing to voice a solution, voice a potential way out of a problem. We need to be willing to build up our resistance to caring about negative feedback from that. We need to be willing to do what needs to be done and to encourage others in our lives that we care about to develop that to grow that muscle of trying to do something worthwhile. First in ourselves, to do the hard thing for ourselves, to challenge ourselves, and then to be willing to challenge others around us so that we can make the situations we're all in together better. So it's not just about get yourself together. Yes, it is that. And yes, you do want to clean your room before you criticize the world, but you're still going to have to live in the world in the meantime. You're still going to have to interact with people. How do you, as you're going along, get people on your side? Being winsome. You need to look to your character in order to do that. Look at how you're growing at every opportunity you have to grow it every day. I'm finding that for myself, and I'm finding that if I don't do that, if I don't set myself along a path to excel and get 90% and above in the physical fitness test, if I don't push on that last lap to try and win, even when it's a practice test, that I'm not setting the example for my children because I didn't take that opportunity to set it in my mind to push when I didn't feel like it, to do the thing that was unpleasant. Gary Larson cartoons, they're on the far side. They're out there. They're weird, and they give you a different perspective on stuff, and they're an example of what can be accomplished when you're willing to go to that far side, and do what's not the common thing. It's weird to do stuff. It's bizarre. It's the far side to want to do stuff that you don't want to do, right? To do things that are not comfortable. To push yourself toward things that aren't pleasant. Hey, Scott, glad you could pop in for a minute. I did talk about Gary Larson cartoons for a little bit. That's what we were talking about, but I'm bringing it back around to land, to come in for a landing. There we go. Dare to be different. Dare to be weird. Will to be weird. Negotiate with yourself to be weird. Because you're not your own slave. You can't will yourself. Take opportunities to encourage your mind. Encourage your body. Encourage your heart. While you engage them. And to seek out to serve the ultimate purpose. As you push yourself to do stuff that you don't want to do for your own benefit and the benefit of others. And live that example so that those around you are going to be on the team with you to seek solutions to make your situations better. That's what I get out of Far Side cartoons. That's what makes me want to stay awake until 2 a.m. to write. Weird techno versions of old Lutheran hymns. That's what makes me want to work with Steve Pinder to produce T-shirts bearing the mug of Chunk, the therapy dog. That's not well placed. That's okay. We'll get there. We'll figure it. That's better. That's a bit better. Just had to go back to it because it's so good. At any rate, I love you guys. Love you all, bears. And I hope some of these mental meanderings were of use to somebody. In the meantime, you know what to do. I'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. And I'm going to see if we can get an interview going. I'm going to try to get my first interview rocking on this show. If it's not tomorrow, it will be soon. By the way, I shot a Chunk commercial today. I shot some a couple days ago, and I shot another section of it today. Hopefully I can get the audio synced with it, and we'll have a version that's appropriate because we need some commercials in this show. It would make it more fun. Skits are hilarious. I like doing them. Bears, peace. Have a great day.